I'm Jamie Knight, and today I'm going to teach you how to make chicken enchiladas that will get you laid. All right, so step one with preparing any meal, arguably one of the most fun parts, is collecting all of the ingredients. Now, when you get locked into a serious ingredient collection, the tendency might be to push it as far as you can. But the beauty of this particular enchilada dish is that you can cook it with mostly things that you just have on hand already. So let's get started. All right, so fresh garlic. First things first, we just want to smash it. All right, we have a beautiful onion here. This is a sweet onion from Mexico. That onion dice actually turned out pretty well. I didn't do my fingers right. Gordon Ramsay would yell at me, but
Gordon.
Don't say that in my presence. All right, now, easiest thing in the world to cut is a bell pepper. And this is what I have cut more than anything in my life, because I was a bartender. Any good bartender knows how to cut these limes. I put that little slit in it as if I'm gonna be serving a cocktail with these, but in reality, I'm just gonna use those and then leave these for squeezing. Now it's time for basically the main event here. This is gonna be the centerpiece of the enchiladas. Got a couple chicken breasts here. And you can really make this with any kind of chicken as long as it's flavorful and delicious. Obviously the best method is to take a whole chicken and shove a bunch of herbs and citrus up its ass and put it in a slow cooker for many hours until it's just falling off the bone. But today what we're gonna do is I'm gonna show you how to take some raw chicken and end up with delicious shredded chicken in a really short period of time. So when you are going to prepare this chicken super fast, the first thing you gotta do is put about 1 inch of water in a stock pot, about like this. So it basically covers the top of the chicken. All right, so now is the time to get this water ready so that it cooks our chicken really awesomely. First things first, we want to go salt. Next up, cumin. Cumin is a Mexican spice. It's in pretty much everything, and I'm not going to sprinkle that because that's horse shit. Here we go. You're going to get about that much. You know what? We're gonna do 2 of those. All right. And then, okay. Here's the next part. This is what's gonna give that chicken flavor like it's been slow roasting for hours, but in reality, we're just boiling it. This is fresh oregano. Grab it straight from your garden, grab it from the market. It's a good Mexican food herb. And then also we're gonna put a little thyme in here. Thyme is excellent with chicken. And then, since this is Tex-Mex food, can't go wrong with a little cilantro. We're gonna use cilantro a lot. Some of you might be those people that don't like cilantro. Maybe I don't like you. But here we go. And so we've got a really good sauce here. We're gonna roast this chicken in, slow boil this chicken in, whatever you want to call it. I like to call it flash cooking the chicken because it sounds cool, like a superhero. The way that I cook for the most part is by feel and by smell, and there's absolutely no way to get that unless you practice. You can follow recipes until you get the feel of it, but once you get the feel of it and the smell of it, that's when you know you're really cooking. So right now, I can tell this needs a tiny bit more cumin just because most of it's gonna cook out. So I'm gonna put another tablespoon of cumin over the top, and I'm not gonna mix that in. I actually kind of want it to sit on top of the chicken. So there we go. Now let's bring that up to a boil while we start making the sauce. So my real pride and joy when it comes to these enchiladas is a roasted red bell pepper that's slipped inside each one of them. So roasting red bell peppers is the easiest thing in the world. Get a little roasting pan. It doesn't matter how big or small it is because these are all gonna come out. And then what we wanna do is we wanna take a nice olive oil. Olive oil is one of the areas that you actually don't want to skimp because a cheap olive oil, a dollar store olive oil, believe me, they have them, is definitely going to have a funky flavor. So even if you're just spending a few extra bucks, olive oil is definitely one of the places where it matters. So do some salt on these bad boys. We'll do some pepper. All right, and so now it's time to put these gorgeous red peppers right over here in a 350-degree oven. So we want to get the edges a little black. All right, now it is time for the sauce.
What's that saying?
Hey, Kairi. Hello, Mayla. So, my nieces, and they're my favorite things in the world. Let go of my shirt. You're always grabbing my shirt and showing people my boobies. They like my new tattoo. All right, so girls, be very careful with this. It's hot, so I want your fingers to go nowhere near the burners. So keep your hands down there, okay? So what I am making right now is chicken enchiladas. You guys love my chicken enchiladas, right? Mm-hmm. All right. Next step, onions, and we're gonna do the rest of these. It's these onions, baby. She's gagging. This is, I gotta tell you, this is my favorite thing when the kids come in the kitchen and start gagging at everything you're doing. Okay? And I'm gonna cut the garlic a little more. So, while these are sauteing is a really good time to check on everything else that you've got going on. There's a lot of elements that you have to start and then they all come together when you assemble the enchiladas. So I'm gonna check our chicken here. All right, we've got a nice boil on that. So that is gonna just fall apart when we take it out. You wanna see? All right, we'll take turns. Now we're cooking. This water is all cooking out. The garlic's getting translucent. So we've got garlic, onions, and peppers. Now, most people would be willing to just make their sauce now, but I'm gonna take this another step because I think part of it is the mystery of not knowing where all this awesome flavor comes from. So for that, I'm going to blend all this. I'm gonna puree it. And you can do that in a food processor or a blender. But the idea is that you wanna take all this awesomeness and just turn it into a paste. So now that we've got these peppers and onions and garlic looking absolutely gorgeous, it's time to puree them. So I like food processors, I like immersion blenders, I like blenders. This is gonna be added back to the cream sauce at the right moment for the flavor, the kick. It's gonna be really, really nice. My entire culinary adventures of my life changed the day that I learned how to make a good cream sauce. And that starts with a really beautiful word called a roux. So what I'm gonna do here is take this same pan that I sauteed these peppers and onions and garlic in, and we're gonna throw a little bit of butter down. Okay, that's a little hot. That's okay. If there's a little bit of brown in it, that's not so bad. Brown butter is actually pretty tasty. A roux is very simple. It's butter, you mix in a little bit of flour so that it makes a paste, and that gives you the base to add the other ingredients that you need, and it will thicken. Look at those little black specks. My daughter hates those, but she's so wrong. Those are flavor. Yeah, beautiful butter. Beautiful butter. Now, get this going. The answer to how much flour you put in is probably about 3 tablespoons. I'm gonna do it, like I said, the way I see things. I'm gonna give it a good sprinkle right here over the top. And then it smells so good. It smells so awesome. All right, so we got the flour in there. Now, let's mix this up. Little whisk, little badass whisk. Okay, so now it is time for the next part of this beautiful sauce, which is going to be the chicken broth. Now, this is a really beautiful bone broth. That is absolutely gorgeous. This is absolutely perfect sour cream for this. Scoop probably about half of it in to start. And give it a good stir. So now that we've got this all mixed in and it's nice and creamy, time to add in the onions and pepper puree that I just made. We're gonna add this pepper in. Ooh, yeah. I think for my next tattoos, I'm gonna get these really cool little circles on my palms that show what's a teaspoon and what's a tablespoon. It's awesome, it's perfect, it's buttery, it's chickeny, it's spicy, it's excellent. All right, going to check on what's in here. Oh, it looks amazing, it's already falling apart. So, we're going to scoop it out. We're gonna kind of try to leave those herbs in there. We don't want to get too many of them. Okay, here we go. Look at that broth it's been cooking in. This is gonna have so much flavor. So even if you have something like canned chicken, God forbid, whatever you have, if you're able to cook it in a broth like this for a while until it's ready to go, it's gonna give you that flavor you need. So, oh, we got a little sprig of thyme there that's hanging on for dear life. Okay. So everything we've done up to this point is leading up to our assembly of the enchiladas. We have our beautiful creamy sour cream hatch green chili verde sauce. We have our super moist shredded chicken. We also have a really nice blend of jack cheese and cheddar cheese. This is really classic Mexican food here. And final touch, our roasted red peppers. Ooh, can you hear that? And they look charred and they smell so good. Okay, beautiful. Now, when I make these for my kiddos, like I said, I don't put these peppers in theirs, but I do put them in everybody else's. Now we have tortillas. This is where this recipe gets a little controversial because any person that is into authentic Mexican cooking is gonna tell you using flour tortillas and enchiladas is a cardinal sin. I like it, and I like it because I'm so into the sauce, and a flour tortilla is really gonna soak up as much of the sauce as possible. So, right here, I'm gonna take a little bit of this yummy chicken and put it right in the middle. I'm gonna put a little bit of cheese in the middle. This is really gonna bind everything together. A little bit here, and then big gorgeous pepper right across the top. We're gonna fold it, tuck it so it gets really nice and tight, roll it, and then you're pretty much good to go. I'm gonna go ahead and use this really beautiful pot. So I'm gonna chop off my ends so it fits just perfectly in there. And then they are ready to go in the enchilada pan. Now, when you have your perfect enchilada pan, the very first step is to put some of the sauce down in it first, because otherwise they're gonna stick to the pan. So, we have a spoon. Gonna get some of the good creamy sauce here and really soak the bottom of the pan in it. This is what everything's gonna be sitting in as it cooks. You don't want it swimming in it, but you just wanna nestle them in there really good. See that? Beautiful. Now, let's lay this little guy here and then roll up the rest of the enchiladas. So now it's time to top the enchiladas and get them ready to go in the oven. So we're gonna take this delicious sauce. We're gonna pour some more right over the tops of these guys to make sure that it seeps down into that flour tortilla. And then time for cheese, which is usually everyone's favorite. Favorite part of the enchiladas is the cheese. So a little bit more of this. I like to personally leave the ends not totally saturated so they get a little crispy. I mean, how often do you have a little bit of a crisp on your enchiladas? So that's beautiful. Now let's add this jack cheddar mix. And then this is also where if you want to slice up some jalapenos and put them on the top, it looks really beautiful once they roast on the top of this. And then they're gonna go straight back in the oven that those roasted bell peppers came out of. That looks so awesome. Okay, and ready to go. All right, time to take the enchiladas out.
Yeah.
Look.
Ooh. Now
And they
that's
look awesome. All right, so you can see that the sauce has gotten a little bit greener. The cheese is really cooked on top. And the edges are really nice and crispy. This is absolutely perfect, the way that I love to have these.
It is.
Let's put a little bit of greenery on the top.
Hey, let me put some.
Here you go. Drop a little cilantro. Now, it's time to plate this. All right, and just to finish it off is a quick guacamole. All right, and there we go. Incredible enchiladas. I'll teach you guys how to make the guacamole recipe on our Facebook page. There you go. Thanks so much for tuning in and watching the show, and I hope you learned a thing or two.